Kia ora, and welcome to this short video that works through an example of applying the Inundation Practice Note to determine the building platform level in a coastal location. Before we dive into the example, let's take a moment to recap the purpose of the Inundation Practice Note. The IPN is non-statutory guidance that provides a methodology to determine minimum ground and building platform levels in areas subject to inundation hazard from seawater or freshwater or a combination of both. For our example, we want to determine the building platform level for a new dwelling on an existing section that is set back more than 30 metres from mean high water spring at Tata Beach in Golden Bay. Figure 3 in the IPN sets out the steps to take to determine this level. For this example, we do not have any site-specific inundation modelling or information, so we start at step 2, determining the seawater inundation levels from Table 2. So let's look at Table 2 to get the seawater inundation levels. The seawater inundation levels for this example at Tata Beach can be found in Column 1 of Table 2. Column 1 is for land more than 30 metres from mean high water springs, while Column 2 is for land adjacent to the coast, where wave run-up will be a factor in addition to the storm tide and wave setup values. So, for our example, the value for seawater inundation is 2.81 metres. We can also look at the table in Appendix 3 of the IPN, which provides a breakdown of the storm tide and wave setup values. Now that we have established the seawater inundation value, we need to add the relative sea level rise value, step 3 in the process. To do this, first we need to establish the planning category. The planning categories are defined in the MFE Coastal Hazards Guidance and can be seen here in step 3. Our example of a new dwelling at Tata Beach on an existing section fits into Planning Category B. Using Table 2, Column 3, we can see for Category B at Tata Beach, the relative sea level rise projection out for 100 years is 1.82 metres. Appendix 3 provides a further breakdown of the relative sea level rise values. Columns 4 and 5 show the other planning categories where, based on the MFE guidance, different climate change scenarios have been used for projecting relative sea level rise values. Column 6 is for building consents only and uses the SSP 2 to 4.5 scenario over an 80-year timeframe. The next step in the process, step 4, requires us to add a freeboard requirement. Table 3 in the IPN outlines the various freeboard requirements. The amount of freeboard required depends on the type of structure. For a habitable dwelling, the New Zealand standard for land development and subdivision infrastructure requires 0.5 metre of freeboard. Step 5 requires consideration of Building Act requirements. To avoid a hazard notice, the land intimately associated with the building needs to be inundation-free and a 1% AEP event over the life of the building. Council can advise on when a hazard notice may apply or steps that could be taken to avoid a hazard notice. In our Tata Beach example, by ensuring the ground level is above the 1% annual exceedance probability for seawater inundation, a Building Act hazard notice would not be required. Step 6 considers any specific local adjustment factors that need to be considered for a particular site. Figure 3 lists the factors that need to be considered where it may be necessary to increase or decrease the ground and or building platform level. For the purposes of our Tata Beach example, we're going to say that there are no local adjustment factors required. The final step in the process is to add all of the values obtained from each of the steps together. For our Tata Beach example, the total elevation for the building platform for this new dwelling needs to be 5.13 metres above sea level using the New Zealand vertical datum 2016 as a reference. It is important to note here that this is a hypothetical example, and other Building Act or local adjustment factors may apply. There may also be other resource consent requirements that we haven't addressed in this example. This example has also used the tables and data in the draft Tasman 2025 IPN. We are currently inviting feedback on these updates. Feedback is open until Wednesday, the 17th of December. You can find further information on the Shape Tasman website, including links to the feedback form, a summary of the changes in each section, a track change version of the IPN so you can see what's changing from the 2019 version, and a clean copy of the IPN. We're interested in your views and appreciate you taking time to provide us with any feedback. Thank you.